It's Tom from BlackToad Studio, and here's my 1500 points of Black Templars for our narrative game in the Yarator sector or system. In front of us here we have a battalion which is consisting of our two compulsory HQs here. So we have a chaplain with jump pack and the Emperor's Champion, which is quite fitting, I think, keeping him in this matchups. We then have actually all troops bar one. So we have 5 Crusader squads. They're all armed as with what they've got, but I'll just go through them very briefly. So here we have a 15-man squad with 5 neophytes, Melter Gun, Power Fists and Lightning Claws on the Sword Brother. Mirror squad for that, except for the fact the Sword Brother's got a Power Sword and there's a Power Axe and a Melter Gun in there. And then going one further back, we have a 20-man squad, so 10 neophytes, 10 Crusaders, a couple of Power Fists in there, Sergeants carrying a Grav Pistol as well, also a Melter Gun. Then we move over to the non-combat base units. Over here, these are all got bolt guns. However, the sergeants are slightly equipped differently. So at the front here, we have one with a power sword and a heavy upgrade as a power axe, plasma gun, and the rest are all bolters. And then at the back here, we have a plasma gun, a power fist, and then a heavy upgrade of a plasma cannon. However, joining the Crusade newly recruited over here are some of the new intercessors. So a 10-man squad there, all ready to go, all basic upgrades, nothing else on them, just a sergeant's got a bolt pistol, that's it, nothing else special there. And then finally at the back, one fast attack choice, which is a land speeder with multi-melter and assault cannon. The chaplain here has got the helm with the Crusader, so that gives us all a little bit of a bigger range. And that is it. So we'll now move on into see what Dom has bought for his word bearers.
Dom from BlackToad Studios, and here is my 1500 points of Chaos Space Marines, the Word Bearer Legion. So this is the force we're bringing today on the mission. We have got a battalion formation, so that gives us 3 command points. As well as that, we get 3 for being bound, so we've got 6 in total. As our troop choice here, we have 4 squads of 20 cultists. 2 at the front squads of combat weapons, 2 at the back with auto guns. At the front here, we have got the Exalted Champion with a Power Axe, a Combi Melter. Over here, we've got the Dark Apostle as our Warlord. Moving along, we've got a Chaos Sorcerer in Terminator armor with Mark of Nurgle. We've got 5 Chaos Terminators, 4 of which have Combi Bolters, and 3 have Power Fists. We've got a Reaper Auto Cannon there and a Chain Fist on the Champion. Behind there, we have got 3 Mutilators that are also Mark of Nurgle, a Chaos Rhino with Havoc Launcher and Combi Bolter, 5 standard Chaos Marines with combat weapons and bolt pistols, and the Champion's got a Plasma Pistol. And at the back here, we have got 2 Helldrakes. So that is my 1500 points. Let's have a look at the mission we are playing today.
Welcome back to the Galera sector. And with the Word Bearers and the Black Templars locked in a brutal planetary combat, we enter this stage on another planet called Panx, which is a recently destroyed planet, not necessarily imperial, but it was inhabited, and as you can see here, is in ruins. How it got ruined, not quite sure, because it seems mostly warp damage. So this is down to the fact that there are, in fact, apparently 2 artifacts on this world which need collecting by either of the forces, and they are located currently here and over here. Now, as the Templars and the Word Bearers made landfall, it was clear that actually their landing zones had possibly been switched over. So as you'll see in a minute, the game will proceed with each force trying to get to each end of the board with their respective relic, while also trying to steal the opponents. So, as the confusion starts to set in, who's going to win this battle? We'll be back in a minute with deployment. So as both forces have now deployed, they see their small issue with getting to their landing zone, which they thought was clear, now has an entire opposing army in front of each other. However, seizing the opportunity to wrest the other artifact out of the opposing force's grasp is quite a tempting one for both forces, and I have a feeling it may be attempted as both forces cross in the middle of the battlefield as they get towards their landing zones. So over here, the Templars have formed a massive line of troops ready to march towards the Word Bearer line, and the Word Bearers having recruited a hell of a lot of cultists in this area, have brought mainly that there. However, I believe sneaking in the background somewhere are some sorcerer with some terminators and also some mutilators. So could be interesting where they come down, how the Templars only ever go forward. That's their motto for this match. So that is everything deployed. And obviously, as you know, the objective is to get your relic to the opposite end of the board over here, or over here, depending on which way you're going. And at the moment, the Templars are going first. However, all Dom sees to give the word bearers the advantage. I hope not. No! Yes! No! Complete opposite. Good. So the Emperor's still alive, as we found with that dice roll, so that's good. So we'll be back in a moment with the Black Templars, turn 1. So the Templar line moves forward. However, does seem to be a bit of a slow movement going on here. Most of these squads only rolled 1 on their advance rolls, so not really getting close to the word bearer force here. However, as you can see here, down here, there's a lot of stuff coming up in front of them, which they're going to have to deal with. In the middle, slightly better run moves. So this Crusader squad ran up here. These 2 squads in the middle decided to stay still, ready to shoot their bolters if they are in range. This Crusader squad got a 1 on its run, or advance roll, and we decided to re-roll it, and that gave it 9. So they've pushed up quite nicely. And this bolter squad here has decided to not run in case it can shoot. The land speed has hopped over terrain here, ready to put a few shots into the Rhino there. Hopefully going to take it out and lower their mobility a bit. So that's the end of the movement phase for the Templars. Can they take anything down in their shooting phase? So as the shooting phase ends for the Black Templars, not many weapons in range. The intercessors here shot into the central squad here, taking 3 out, and their brothers-in-arms on the left of them from this camera shot into this squad here, taking out 3 cultists, and then the land speeder over here firing its weapons, a little bit hampered by its movement, managed to take off 4 wounds, so not too bad. But that is the end of the shooting phase. There's nothing in combat range, so we're now going to move on to the word bearers in turn 1.
Turn 1 movement for the word bearers, and as the battle cries are heard across the lines, the cultists charge forwards, minor casualties, and shouts and screams and praises to the dark gods boost them on towards the Templars. The Helldrakes advancing over the crowds and towards the Primaris and the Crusader squad over there. But also in the backfield, reinforcements have arrived. They're coming in. The trap has been sprung, and the mutilators and the sorcerer are back here, hoping to join in the fray. And over on the other flank, we have the Terminators. They're going to be charging in the back there, possibly sacrificing their lives for the overall mission, but we will see. Let's see what happens in turn 1, psychic and shooting for the word bearers. Turn 1, psychic and shooting for chaos. So in the psychic phase, we got miasma of pestilence and diabolic strength off on the mutilators here. In the shooting phase, we had combi bolters ripping into the rear of this Crusader squad, killing off 5 of the neophytes. We had Helldrake fire coming in onto the Primaris, killing off 3 in total. So that's taking them down quite nicely. Also, auto gunfire spat down from this building into the Primaris, but the power armor, being resilient stuff, was able to weather most of the shots there. Also, we had auto gunfire coming down this street into this Crusader squad and killed off 2 of the neophytes, and that's about it. We also had a little bit of damage actually on the land speeder. 2 wounds were taken as the Rhino fired its Havoc launcher and combi bolter in, causing 2 wounds. So let's move into the assault phase, turn 1 for word bearers. Turn 1 assault for the word bearers. So the mutilators came roaring in there, hoping the sorcerer would join them. Unfortunately, the sorcerer wasn't able to. But the mutilators killed 7 marines in combat and took 2 wounds back. So they whittled this squad down to just 4 marines there. Both Helldrakes made their targets, both charging in. This Helldrake kill killed off 1 of the Primaris, suffering a wound in combat. The other one there over here he was being whittled down a little bit. He's down to 8 wounds, but he took off 1 neophyte and holding them all up. The Emperor's Champion heroically intervened and charged in to slay the dragon. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do anything against him. And also the Terminators attempted to charge back here, but as this push moved up here, they weren't able to make it. So that's it for turn 1. A lot of damage has been dealt out to the Black Templars, locking a few units up. Let's see what they can do in their turn 2.
So as turn 2 for the Templars begins, there's been some tactical movements by the Templars here. They have fallen out of combat down here with the Mutilators, and they're going to possibly turn some guns on it from this squad here, try and thin them out at least. This Templar squad here of Crusaders has got too much bloodlust right now, and is heading towards the heretical squads in front of them, charging down these Crusaders. Sorry, they're cultish, I should say, hopefully. Yeah, so dark Crusaders. And then over this side of the board, as we move on, the squad over here that was moving forward has turned its attention towards the Terminators at the back here, because they don't want them shooting them in the back, and that is a chaosy thing to do. Back shooting is a well-known sport amongst the Chaos ranks. And then over here, these guys decided to stay in combat because there are a couple of power fists in there, and the Emperor Champion's there, so hopefully they'll do some more damage to that Drake, but we shall see. The Intercessors had broken out of combat with the Drake there because they want to move this way towards the objective, which is the end of the board on this side, obviously. But also they are giving the land speeder here an opportunity to put a couple of rounds into the Helldrake as well. So that is movement. Now we'll see how they fare in the shooting phase. So as the guns die down in turn 2 shooting the Templars, not a lot has happened, sadly. Over here in the middle, the Drake survives a fusillade of fire from this Land Raider, not even taking a single wound. Some excellent 5-up saves happening there. Not a good day for shooting. And over here we finally took out 1 Mutilator with a few shots from the plasma weapons there. The -1 to hit really impeding the shooting of the Templars. And back here, all the shots fired into this squad of Terminators here, and unfortunately only took out 1, so not looking good. However, they are quite zealous. They're going to hopefully regroup in the combat phase and take out this Helldrake and possibly even this one over here. You never know, depending on what they decide to do. So, we'll now move on into the combat phase. So, with high hopes, they charged in, and however, they didn't do very well. The Templars have taken quite a beating in this combat phase. Some really poor hitting rolls have caused 3 members of this squad to die. Over here, after the morale check, I think it's almost, there's 3 out of the 10 that were in there. So pretty horrendous casualties. The bright side of this particular combat phase was here, taking the Helldrake out. However, it took an entire Crusader squad, the Emperor's Champion and the Chaplain to do it. However, they did beat it to death, feeling quite satisfying about it. On this side of the table over here, the 15-man Crusader squad that charged in has now been whittled down to 4, sorry, pardon me. That was pretty brutal. The cultists stole an attack on me after spending 2 command points, which is quite wisely done because they managed to take out 6 of their combat. I think I rolled 6 1s. I think it was pretty bad. But, hey, that's the nature of the game. Hopefully in a minute the luck will swing the other way. Never know. So the Templars are now just going to try and knuckle down and head on for the objective on this side of the board because a lot of the stuff seems to be over here at the moment, but they do have to get through a wall of cultists and a couple of characters here, so we'll see how things pan out as we roll into Word Bearers turn 2.
Turn 2 movement for the Word Bearers. So the war host in the centre here, the cultists supported by the Champion and the Apostle are charging forwards here. This squad of cultists coming through the ruins, supported here by the Champion who's advanced and the Apostle there with a 9-inch radius, hoping to take on the Primaris Marines there. Back here as well, the other Marines are moving up. The Sorcerer back here is pushing up towards the Mutilators to support them. Across the field, we have the Helldrake here. He's jumped over the building. He's going to unleash some fiery fury upon the Crusaders. And we've got 5 Chaos Marines there who've disembarked. And they will possibly charge in there as well to hold up this large element of the Templar force. So let's move on now to turn 2, psychic and shooting. See what we can do. Turn 2, psychic and shooting for the word bearers. So we got miasma of pestilence off from the sorcerer onto the mutilators. We tried to smite as well, but the Black Templars used their stratagem and denied it there. Across the battlefield, we did another stratagem here, increasing the +1 to wound roll for the auto guns, putting a volley of fire into the Primaris, taking one Primaris Marine out and taking one down to another wound. Another one was killed when the other squad opened fire with auto guns as well, so that squad's down to 4. It's slowly getting windowed down, and Helldrake flamed in here, igniting 2 neophytes, their loincloths. Igniting and sending them to the warp. The Rhino here fired the combi bolter and the Havoc launcher, taking one wound off the land speeder. And finally over here some auto pistols were fired into combat there and nothing happened. So let's move on to assault and see what the word bearers can do. Right, so turn 2 assault for the word bearers, and in the centre here the cultists poured through the building, killing off one of the Primaris in combat, losing I think several to their number, but they're still holding strong in the centre. Both of the relics are there, both of the artefacts that are being fought over so bitterly are in the centre now. Down on this flank here, the sorcerer charged in, killing off a couple of Marines as he charged in. The mutilators carried on their assault, and the Marines unable to do anything in return. Over on this part of the battlefield here, the Terminators have freed themselves up, slaying the final Space Marines there, and now pushing up towards the centre. They know the fight is going to be here. They need to get in there as quickly as possible. And over on this quadrant here, we have the Helldrake and the 5 Marines have charged in, suffering 1 wound, I think, on the Helldrake there, but killing a couple of Marines, and the Chaos Marines are holding strong. So a good turn for Chaos. They've engaged on a lot of fronts here. Haven't necessarily caused as many casualties as they needed, but also they haven't sustained many, so a bit of a stalemate at the moment. We're going to move on now to turn 3 for the Templars and see if they're able to do anything about the oncoming tides of cultists.
So as we join the Templars in their turn 3, they have decided that now is the time to dig in and try and hack their way out of the situation they've got them into. It's pretty nasty for them, obviously, but they're going to have a go. They've got a couple of characters knocking about. The only move that did happen was the Land Raider jumped here to get as close as possible as that Dark Apostle, maybe just try and take a little scalping there. And then obviously this squad here have moved in towards the Mutilators and the Sorcerer Lord. So that's all the movement. We'll now go on and see what happens in the whatever shooting and combat phases. So down here during the shooting phase, the Templars managed to take 3 wounds off the Exalted Champion there. However, they also managed to take 1 cultist away from this squad as well, but nothing else has happened. So now we're going to go into the combat phase and see if we can kill a few more. So as turn 3 for the Templars wraps up over here, we lost about 3 men in this combat against the Drake. Didn't do anything. I think we got maybe 1 wound. No, we didn't in the end. Didn't do anything in the back in the end. The Chaplain didn't have any luck against the Chaos Marines either, sadly. However, the Primaris did manage to batter down 5 cultists in the middle. The Landspeeder charged into the Champion but didn't do anything to him. So he's still sitting on 1 wound. Then over here, the cultists on this side took 2 casualties, and I took 1. And then finally over here, the Sorcerer and the Mutilators are finally cleaning up this combat, I think, with the squad that charged in pretty much decimated, and the other one there still just hanging in there with 2 units. So that is the end of turn 3 for Templars. We'll now hang on into turn 3 for the Wordbearers.
Wordbearers, turn 3 movement. And in the centre of the battlefield here, the cultists as well as the Dark Apostle, are now moving towards the Relic with some backup from the Terminators there. Everything is coming towards the centre to capture the Templar one and to contain and secure the Wordbearer one. We have to take out these Primaris. There's going to be no shooting, I don't think, in this turn, as everything is already engaged in combat. So we're going to be moving straight into turn 3 assault. Turn 3 assault for the Word Bearers, and moving over to the centre here, the Word Bearers have finally been able to clear the Primaris Marines off the artifact. So the Terminators charged in, killing off 2 of the 3 remaining Primaris, and then the final one fell to the cultists, who killed him by butting him round the head with the butts of their guns. Across here as well, the Mutilators have freed themselves up, killing off the last members of the squad there and moving slowly towards the centre. Across here as well, the Helldrake took a lot of damage. I think it took 6 wounds. 6 wounds from the champion there. And a couple of Marines have fallen, but they're still holding there. The Templars are on the back foot here. Only a handful of Marines remain. Will they be able to push the Chaos back? Let's find out in their turn 4.
So as the end of turn 4 for Templars has now approached, quite a quick turn there, because obviously everything was actually wrapped up in combat. And over here, the Emperor Champion finally put a killing blow on the Helldrake, and then he moved towards the nearest unit. The Chaplain has also managed to actually kill 2 Chaos Marines as well, which is good. But obviously they're running out of troops now. So we're going to see what happens in turn 4 for the Wordbearers. And sorry, just before we do move on to turn 4 for the Wordbearers, we did actually forget this combat over here. The 2 remaining Marines actually managed to kill off 4 cultists. They didn't fail the leadership, however, so that's that. So we'll now definitely go on to turn 4 for the Wordbearers.
Turn 4 movement for the Word Bearers. They're in the centre here. The Terminators and the Cultists here both have one of the relics, are now heading towards the edge, heading towards the final objective there. The Mutilators and the Sorcerer are moving in to support them, and the Cultists are now, they've moved and done an advance roll. They need to make sure these guys are now out of the equation. The Apostle also is supporting them in there. Back on this front here, after a tragic amount of cultists fell to these 2 Templars, another squad are coming in to support their fanatical brothers, and they will be charging in, screaming all sorts of insults towards the false Emperor. So let's move on now to psychic and shooting. Turn 4 for the Wordbearers. Death to the Emperor. Turn 4, shooting and psychic for Chaos. So across the field here, the Chaos Sorcerer casts Smite, taking out the Chaplain there. The Chaplain has fallen, freeing up these 3 Chaos Marines. The 3 Chaos Marines and the Rhino fired into these Marines, doing nothing to them in shooting. But their blood is up and they are being charged. They're going to charge into combat here and kill off 4 Marines. So let's see if they can do that in their turn 4 assault. Turn 4 assault for Chaos. So over here, the cultists charged in, killing off the 2 Battle Brothers there. The Battle Brothers held their own, but unfortunately, after killing 16 Chaos cultists, they fell, probably weakened eventually by the onslaught. Moving over here, the Chaos Marines charged into combat down here. On the initial charge, killing off 2 of the Battle Brothers there. And then unfortunately got killed by the Power Fists that were standing behind. They came in and slaughtered the Chaos Marines. So a small victory over here. There's 3 Battle Brothers left for the Templars. Are they able to make a final charge before it's all over? Let's find out in turn 5 for the Black Templars.
So as turn 5 starts here, the movement phase for the Templars. Over here we have the 2 remaining Crusaders squad here have moved towards the Dark Apostle. They want to get one last scout before they fall. And over here, the Emperor's Champion has made his last final ditch attempt to go for these Terminators over here and possibly get away with a Relic. You never know, but probably not. He's definitely going to give it a damn good go because he doesn't want to let Chaos go without a really decent fight, and he does like fighting. So that is the end of the movement phase. We're now going to move into shooting and assault, which I'll do together because there's not going to be much of it. See you in a second. So at the end of turn 5 for the Templars, over here, the 2 remaining Crusaders that charged and managed to take the Dark Apostle down to, I think, was it 1 wound in the end? Yeah. So a pretty good going there. That was all done by the Sergeant because the other guy was actually killed off by an interception from paying 2 command points. And over here, the Emperor's Champion managed to take out 2 of the Terminators. I think the Mutilators are probably not going to stand for that, but we will see shortly if they can get some bravery to come over here. We'll shortly see. I mean, Chaos are a little bit, you know, in the back, we said before, didn't we? So we'll now see what happens.
Turn 5 movement for the word bearers. So the Terminator here is falling out of combat. He's taking a relic and he's going towards the objective there, hoping that the Mutilators are enough to take the Emperor's Champion out, although I somehow doubt it. Over across here we have the cultists as well on the other side of the building doing the same thing here. We're getting closer to the edge there. Across we have cultists surrounding the Dark Apostle and the last remaining Templar here. They've also got some chains up against the Rhino to hoist up the fallen Templar. We're predicting good things. So let's move on to shooting turn 5 for the word bearers. Right, turn 5 assault for Chaos. So the Mutilators charged in here, doing 2 wounds to the Champion. The Champion, although wounded, fought back, killing one of the Mutilators and taking the other one down to 1 wound there. This guy is unstoppable. Anything I put against him is just fallen. Across here as well, the duel continues. Possibly playing up to the crowds. They're both not killing each other. They're just showboating. So let's move on to turn 6 for the Black Templars. See what they can do with the last 2 men on the board.
So down here at the end of turn 6 for the Templars, very sadly, the Emperor Champion finally fell. He couldn't quite finish off the Mutilator, who is now scooted off in this direction towards the victorious Sergeant, who managed to kill the Dark Apostle, and now he's going to take the chains off the Rhino, and he's going to use them to flail some cultists. So we'll now move on to turn 6 for the word bearers.
Turn 6 movement for the word bearers. So over here, the Mutilator, now known as the Hulk, has pushed through. He's going for the Slayer of Apostles and he's going to take him out. He's got 1 wound left. It could horribly go wrong, but we will find out. Across the battlefield as well, down here, the 2 relics have finally made it over into the scoring point here. So at the moment, it is a word bearer victory, but the Hulk needs to avenge the Dark Apostle. The Dark Apostle, obviously, being the figurehead of this group and needs to be avenged. So we're going to go straight into turn 6 assault. Die. Turn 6 assault, and the Hulk, the final Mutilator, charged into the Battle Brother and reattached the chains and attached his body onto the Rhino. And all the Templars have now been removed from the battlefield. So let's have a final debrief and see what the outcome of this mission was.
So as the battle ends on the Panx planet within the Yarator system, again, the word bearers have got the upper hand here, having claimed 2 relics from this battlefield, setting them with 3 of these vital objectives for them. The Templars are now being brushed off this planet like a fly being swatted and not recovering too well at the moment. So We will now see what happens in the next mission as the two forces head towards another planet within the system. Can the Templars bring back a bit of honour to the chapter, or are they again going to be wiped aside in an embarrassing fashion? So that's it from me and Dom, and we'll see you in the next game.